Good evening and thanks for joining us. The state is preparing to impose a quarantine on coffee beans from South Kona. It's an effort to stop the spread of a tiny pest that's been found in Big Island crops. KITV4's Jill Kuramoto is here with that story. Jill?
Well, Pamela, the state says it's ready to move ahead with the quarantine as an emergency administrative rule to keep the tiny coffee berry borer from spreading to other islands. A meeting held last week on the issue had to be rescheduled when it was found that not enough notice was given about the hearing. And that's just given Kona coffee farmers more time to contemplate how to fight the quarantine they say would be devastating to the industry.
The coffee berry borer is a tiny beetle, smaller than the size of a sesame seed. It gets its name by how it bores into the coffee bean to lay its eggs. State agriculture officials have found 21 areas in South Kona that have been infested by the bug and say a quarantine is necessary to keep it from spreading. The quarantine would require green, non-roasted coffee beans to be treated with heat or insecticide before they're shipped off the island.
Depending on how it comes out, the effects of the quarantine could be disastrous for those of us that grow Kona coffee.
Those who would be most severely impacted, the organic Kona coffee farmers. And although they don't yet know how much a quarantine would cost them, Kona coffee farmers say the state is moving too quickly without first answering two questions.
How did CBB get into Hawaii in the first place? And two, why did the Hawaii Department of Ag protections not prevent the introduction of that particular pest?
But Jim Wayman, whose Hawaii Coffee Company is the largest processor of Kona coffee in the world, says the state is not moving quickly enough.
The longer it goes on without efforts in place to eradicate it, the more populous it becomes.
Wayman says a quarantine would be an added cost to an already expensive product.
And I'm estimating at this point that would cost our company $50,000 to $60,000 a year.
Wayman says the majority of the state's 800 coffee farmers support a quarantine to protect their crops.
Now, the Kona Coffee Farmers Association is calling for a ban on the import of all foreign green coffee beans into Hawaii because they believe that's how the bug got here. That meeting with the Department of Agriculture's advisory committee has not yet been scheduled, and a quarantine would be imposed only after it's approved by the full Board of Agriculture. Pamela?